Sorry about that. I just got a phone call. But right here it says, "Could you please pay for the record your occupation?" It's Chief of Police Michael J. Wynn. Ford stops him. I thought you was going to ask him privately. So he already know what the deal is. You have him on record, then he assumes liability and negligence to the situation. But it's already there for him, the chief of police, because like the city solicitor said, it was filed on behalf of the police department. And the chief of police is there. So you can't deviate from that. Let's go a little further. Let's see what's really going on in here. All right, this is Mr. Degnan. The Chase main concern is that this being constituting a public disclosure of an internal document, a public document in which the internal policy which the police department uses to paint it before trial, have it widely distributed in jail is something that is beyond the scope of this particular trial. If every other inmate gets to seize this, it has nothing to do with, shall I say, Mr. DeKoob is asking for this document in relation to a criminal matter that's currently pending in this court to have his own defense. The city is not arguing that. It doesn't appear that he's asking for it. It's generally give it to me as if it were public record so he could give a copy to everybody else. There's no other person that needs that right now. And this is what Ford asked. What harm would it fall the city of Pittsfield if that happened? Degnan says they may look for ways, if they know the policy, they may look for ways to circumvent the rules. Although I admit I'm hard pressed to think of a way. But you're doing it to me right now. Because I don't do those things, but she's doing it right now. You know, at that time she was. It would circumvent the rules if they knew them ahead of time. I know this isn't a public record subpoena. So we keep going on in there. And she's breaking down different case law from civil cases and stuff. But this is a criminal matter. You know, my rights are more protected criminally than they are civilly in a situation. Sorry about the camera movement. The judge reads it right here. Okay, Rule 14. Now, I mentioned this to Jakub before we even went into court here that this was going to work, and he wasn't really on page with me, but he's seen the light. Rule 14A, subparagraph 6 provides that the judge for may cause social great discovery to a defendant on the condition that the material be provided shall be only to counsel the defendant. For cause shown. What is the cause? I don't understand what the cause. And it keeps going down in there. Well, the cause is that the police department is concerned about its ability. If everyone in the jail had a copy of the search and seizure policy, it would adversely affect their ability to do searches and seizures. Maybe the correct way to say this, they're concerned that the criminal element, Your Honor, will find ways to avert the law. I suppose a better way to say it, I think. So they don't want to give me the records because they're saying that I'm going to avert the law. But they're not trying to give me the records because they're averting the law, knowing that at the time in 2011, now check this out, Berkshire County has been abolished as a state agency. I mean, not as a state agency, as a county in 2000. That means that everything that's in this county is a state agency that's ran. They vote for the police chief, but he works for the state. He's a state employee. The sheriff is a state employee. The mayor is a state employee. This is what their rules are. I'm just saying what their rules are. So in 2011, when Spina, Ford, and Agostini knew that MPI lost their federal funding and wasn't accorded with the Massachusetts Administrative Procedure Act, knowing that it violated people's constitutional rights because it violated their rights to get searches and seizures, and the people were supposed to have a vote. It was supposed to be publicated in a paper and gave notice. Searched the city records. At City Hall, going back to the 1800s, there's nothing there. I just went to City Hall right now to get all records I can on Spina being city solicitor from 77 to 75. And actually, they called the police on me because it got in a little heated debate. And I had to just school the secretary real quick. You know, police kind of understand because they know me and they know what I've been through. Some of the officers, you know. So going here, this is the policy that I had already. And it should still be on the Google on there. If not, they probably took it off. But this is the original policy. This comes from MPI. And this was an exhibit on my 2011 case and my motion to suppress hearing. This is why I want the information from this so I can have a better motion to suppress hearing, because everything is abided by law. So understand this. As long as they have a prosecution on you, any state, you have the right to suck up all the information because of your liberties and your rights come first. So if they didn't follow any correct policy or procedure that is a flaw, and basically that's a loophole to you to beat your case. Giving y'all the jewel. This stuff is administratively. Stop looking inside of the box and all the details and semantics. Look at the administrative way of how these people move, and look at their administrative policy, because that governs what they can and what they can't do. Even judges, they have rule books on the judges. Like I said, that Rule 14A, subparagraph 6, I explained that to Jakub. He wasn't inclined to really push that, but we pushed that day. The judge turned around, grabbed the book, looked, and read that in court. He's binded by that. He can't do nothing otherwise. Even if he did something otherwise, to the appeal court, they would have to flip it over. This is the subpoena copy that Degan didn't want to give me. If you look at it, it's grafted and copied and pasted. This has bullets. This has numbers. If you keep going on it, this one right here is broken down like this. This one right here is broken down like this. Look at the procedures up here, how it's broken down. They just took the 1, 2, 4F off of there. And you know how it's broken down in subparagraphs? They even try to do that too. Now, we're going to get into these subparagraphs. This is how you know it was copied and pasted and rushed. This is why the attention of Calello and Souls was put there ahead of the custodial officers, so they can go ahead and get this shit together, you know, because they're the officers responsible. So everybody got to clean up their own shit. So this right here goes to B, sequence of inspection, and it breaks down to tires, goes all the way down to tires. They copied it in total, just graphed it and pasted, which you're not supposed to do. It's a violation of constitutional rights. It's a violation of the Procedure Act. Because like I said, Berkshire County lost their county seat, and the county of Berkshire had been abolished since 2000. Therefore, the Commonwealth took over, and it became state agency. Everything that's ran here is a municipality as a state agency. So to use the policy for MPI, the police department is a state agency. The police chief is a state employee, which came into court to not let me get the records to show that basically they copied and pasted, and they tried to use any policy that they could use to basically uphold the prosecution, to justify the search and the finding of the substances they found in the car, because they didn't have a policy. So if they would have found it in another area, they probably would have come up with another policy. Or if this is still going on today, they might pull me over and use this policy, but pull you over tomorrow and use another policy. That's why the law is written where it has to be written for every police department, so you can inspect their records, and it's written down what the objective, what their rules and guidelines and policy and procedures are. Now, if you keep going through here, this starts off here, front of the vehicle. This says it too, but it's just capitalized. You keep going down, it goes all the way down to I. Only thing with this one is they changed it to, instead of, wait a minute. Instead of changing that, they go down to H only. You see it? Tires is missing. It goes on to H, undercarriage. Then it says here, interior. It goes down to interior. It's a bigger paragraph. They just broke down the paragraph, but this is where it gets crazy. This is where you know it's a typo. There's no typo here. This was done after the fact. So it says here 3A, 1, 2A. Why would it say A again? Shouldn't it say B? Then it says C. Then it goes to valuable items. Here it says A, B, C, D, E. Only thing they did here was just break it down into the 1 and the 2 and broke the paragraphs down to make it look like their own. But using this policy in total, and it's even said by the retired Chief Roddy there that the police department, the MPI is a training facility, a nonprofit. These training manuals and these exercises and things are not supposed to be used in total. He says it. They're not supposed to be used in total because he knows it's not binding. But the Pittsburgh Police Department still binded themselves with MPI, which they were not supposed to do. It violated my constitutional rights. Like I said, I went back to the 1800s. There was no vote. When it was enacted by Spina, when he was city solicitor, there was no vote. Even when they lost funding in the late 80s, early 90s, there was no vote. This comes before, like I said, stop and frisk, because stop and frisk, there has to be written law for them to take advantage of the stop and frisk, which is to get you to understand. So this is the written law on how they manifest. On one end, you know, it's like a double-edged sword. You know, they're attacking. What they're doing is they're setting up a platform in a scheme pyramid, just using the criminal justice system. On one end, cases like dude's fault and they do their own self, but they use that and the propaganda to lift them own selves up, because that's what it is. That's their hustle. So we're their hustle. Robert Shorty Nimblett, kills a woman that's propagated to use to have the district attorney's office. Oh, then you have a stabbing by LeBlanc. That happens.